Oh, there you go.
Good evening, I'm Trustee. We call this meeting to order on September 29th at 5 o'clock for the Tell City Troy Township Trustee Board. And I'm going to turn it over to Steve Owen. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, we need to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Everyone stand, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yes, now I'll turn it over to Steve Owen.
Okay, thank you, Trustee. First of all, I want to thank the board, Trustee and Winnie and Leanne, the clerk, for coming on short notice. And I apologize for the short notice. I actually gave a notice in the paper of 5 days, although I gave it to them 10 days early. They can't get it in the paper immediately. And so we had a very short notice, but Wendy and Chrissy came anyway, which allows us to have a quorum for the public. We'll just explain, we have 3 members on the board, which would be Wendy Beck, Trustee Freilich, and J.R. Flynn. J.R. is not available today, but we have 2, so that's 2 needed for a quorum. So we'll be able to vote and sign the paper today, which is fortunate because this is due to be submitted to the DLGF, the Department of Labor and Government Finance, on June 30th. That's tomorrow. So this is great. We're going to go through our capital improvement plan.
September 30th. Excuse me.
Thank you. September 30th.
Yes.
June 30th is long gone. But September 30th is right on top of us. This is going to be great. What we will do is we'll talk about our capital improvement plan, and then we will sign a document saying we've gone through the plan and it's approved by the board. And then I will submit that to the DLGF tomorrow. That's the hope for plan. Okay, so the first thing is I've given a handout to Trustee Wendy and Leanne, and this is the capital improvement plan. There are some numbers there. Tried to get an explanation of where these numbers come from. It comes from some other numbers that get put in the system, and then it spits out these numbers. And it basically, I don't know if we're going to tell us, but what I can tell you is we have no plans for capital expenditures 26, 27, and 28. These are the years questioned. And that's my plan. I also talked with Trustee separately, and Wendy separately, and JR separately. And to my knowledge, all agree that we don't have any capital plans, which makes this easy. It says we're going to spend 0. And in the current environment, it's probably a good thing. Okay. So, having said that, does anybody have any comments about what I just said as far as no capital improvement?
So if we come up with something for next year, are we putting a limit to that tonight?
I presume we could
change that? I mean,
it's for 3 years. Change, I know.
So it's for 3 years. The meeting tonight is to set it for the next 3 years.
That's correct.
Yeah. Because I mean, I don't foresee any problem, but you always have to think about if you had moved offices, or, in the past we've considered looking into staying at a firehouse versus, if our rent went up or something, we might have to build out an office or something. And you know what I mean? So I just didn't want, it can be changed if there needs to be a project.
So, yeah. I know we can do a reauthorization request if the budget's not right.
Okay.
But on capital, I'm not 100%.
Okay.
Is honest truth. But I would imagine that we would, and we wouldn't have, we might have reason to make more expenditures than we thought, but I don't think we would have a reason to build an office or anything that would be we have a new computer from this year, so our computer's brand new.
Right.
And I don't know anything that's been submitted on this equipment.
Right.
But it's a good question. People keep calling me on the phone. Okay. So what I would suggest, if you guys want to look through these pages, they don't reveal much. Second page is the number of 38. Third page, 12838. I called up my contact in Indianapolis to help me put this together, which we did today. It's all correct. It's took a lot.
Is that $38 or is there zeros missing out of that?
I don't know what that means. I'm being just deadly honest with you. All I know is that it corresponds to zero cap.
Okay.
And I sent messages and tried to call Robert Norris, who's my contact, and he's a super busy guy, and he just didn't get back. I wanted to be able to say, well, this is where those numbers came from, so I could look like I was smarter than I am. I failed. But these are the papers that come from the capital improvement plan. And what will happen is when we sign the document today, assuming we do, that and these papers will go back to DLGF. And Robert Norris has blessed these papers, so they're correct. And it's hard to change the capital improvement plan once we say that's what it is for this year. We'll probably do it next year, not this year. I'm giving you that. I'm giving you that. That's the case. So my recommendation is, once we're through discussing them, and by the way, JR's input was no capital improvements. So, on the telephone, because he's not available. So my recommendation is, once we get done discussing it, if we haven't come up with a capital improvement, then we should decide to accept the idea that we're not going to have any capital improvements, and so that's what it is, and we'll sign the document that says we have the public hearing. This is the public hearing to talk about this capital improvement plan. I think this is the first year we've had capital. It's definitely first for me, but I think it's first for everybody.
Yeah.
It's not just township office. Everybody's having to spend one. If you're a bigger township office, like, I don't know, if you're in Evansville or something like that, or if you're in a firehouse where you might buy an equipment, then you would have a more complicated meeting.
Right, no parks, yeah.
You'd have things to
Right,
talk
right.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm running long enough. What do you guys think?
It's okay for me. I don't foresee much capital improvement being needed either at the moment. This year for sure. And probably next year.
Yeah, I think basically we're just gonna operate
Yeah.
as we are. I know I talked to the landlord, mentioned the rent, and he said that the rent will stay the same
Okay.
through 2026.
Okay.
Yeah. So I know that's.
Yeah, the only thing that I talked to Steve about was, and it was not my idea, but from going to the state meetings, I know a lot of townships do a lot of preservation work on their cemeteries to keep them from deteriorating and falling apart, because we take care of Forest Cemetery and several of the outlying cemeteries that no one else takes care of. So I said that would be my only idea, if we had a future one in a future year, is maybe getting assessments on any work that might need to be done to preserve some of the historical value of some of those tombstones or the cemeteries.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, that's something that your first year you shouldn't have to deal with for sure, you know.
Yeah, I don't right now, the cemeteries, except for Fuller, are in pretty good shape. The Fuller does have a couple of really old tombstones. But, I think we might handle that kind of work on an expense basis. So, rather than capital. Any other questions or comments? Well, I'm not the one to make a motion, I guess, since I'm not on the board, but I would suggest to the board that it would be a motion to accept the zero capital plan and sign the document that says we have a public hearing.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve that. And JR was on board for that, you said it.
Yeah, he was on board for no capital.
Right.
In fact, he was in fact.
Yes, yes. Okay. Well, I make a motion to approve that
A second.
All right.
and to sign. Is that right? You want our signatures yet tonight on?
Yeah, I don't think you have to sign on the YouTube, but you could, if you want to, include the meeting and sign.
Whatever's correct.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think I would just conclude the meeting. And
Okay.
sign it out.
Okay. Well, I will call this meeting to end. A motion to adjourn?
I'll second that.
Okay, good deal.